morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
We don't spend a lot of time watching television except for shows like Heartland and hockey games, but we caught the nature series show Equus Part 1 on PBS last week and really enjoyed it. Now, there was some really good footage with world-class horseman Jim Anderson there on a gelding he calls Maveric. Well, I sat down with Jim a while ago and thought maybe you'd enjoy hearing some of that conversation again this week.
Got a bunch of friends with big ranches, so when I get time, that's my brain break, is cowboying.
And Baxter Black will describe his experience at having a sneak peek at the afterlife.
Square on my head, I hit the ground like a bag of loose salt. Knocked me plumb out, so they said.
On the Rangeland News, lots of interesting items, including a look at synthetic meat.
I think there is a question about whether these products are safe.
And in the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight, a wonderful story written by a guy we still miss every day, Mike Pahallo.
Way back in the 1930s, they were mighty hard to beat. The hockey team from Alkali Lake that would not accept defeat.
We'll match that up with Tim Huss and his song My Hockey Mom. And on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training file, I read a comment from someone who said, liberty work and bridleless riding is only achieved by methods that are abusive and painful. And I can't let that one go. The world of country music lost a legend last week, and you'll hear her with this week's classic song of the West. And I'll talk with Jim Anderson after we pull the wraps off a brand new album from Ryan Fritz. And this one features my little brother Jim on lead guitar.
I'm a hard-assed rancher below these big old skies, out on the prairie where the wind blows dry to make my stand, trying to make a living from this land, and the living's good, but the money isn't always quite as good. Now these old hills grow the hard grass grows the beef gets sold to buyers, then I make believe I'm alright. For a little while, I'll be alright. I'm a ranching man, don't you doubt, a ranching man. Well, I moved the farmer's daughter from the black fertile land to the rolling lonely prairie, southwest Saskatchewan, and her daddy cried, girl, don't run off with a drifting cowboy guy. My, oh, he's a ranching man. Don't run around with a ranching man. Too late. When this calving season's over and the branding is all done, you might find me in Longview just tipping back one or maybe two. 'Cause I've been known to have me one or two. See, I'm a ranching man, don't mess around with a ranching man. Yes, I'm a ranching man, don't mess around with a ranching man.
And he plays a lot of acoustic, but once in a while we let him plug in, and it turns out all right. And that's on Ryan Fritz's brand new CD, the song Ranchin' Man. And actually, Ryan is just back from a very successful appearance at Elko, Nevada. Now, Jim Anderson was a two-time winner of the Calgary Stampede Extreme Cowboy Race. He was the wild card winner and the eventual champion of the Road to the Horse, and he's won all kinds of performance horse awards.
The trail that brought you to where you are with the level of horsemanship that you've acquired, where did it all start for you?
Well, when I was about 14 years old, my mom took me to a couple ray hunt clinics and went to a Tom Dorrance clinic. And then when I turned 18, I went and rode a year with Brian Newbert and really got the foundation of good horsemanship theory and learned how to ride colts and how to communicate and really understand horses from Brian. He was just excellent. And then I went from there and I started doing some reining. And I've showed reining horses. I have over $150,000 worth of lifetime earnings in the NRHA. And then I went and worked in Italy for a couple years, training reining horses and showing cow horses, and worked in Germany for a couple years, and come back and bought a place, and now I'm just learning and riding horses and wanting to get better.
And home, you were telling me you were actually brought up in the Waterton area?
Yeah, just south of Pincher Creek, in between Waterton and Pincher Creek. We were brought up there, and we were raised on a ranch and started colts and team roped when we were younger. Is what we did.
Now, if you have been able to watch that PBS special on the Nature Series, Jim Anderson put on a tremendous display, bridleless and at liberty, with his horse Maverick, and that is the colt that he had picked in the Road to the Horse wildcard competition, and the horse he went on to win the competition with.
That's the one I was helping people with here. He's a really nice 3-year-old. His barn name is Maverick. He's a Playboy's Buck Fever out of a Mr. Jess Perry mare, and he's a big, strong colt with a lot of talent. He's a really good mover, lots of stop, real good mind on him, so I'm really happy with him.
What caught your eye when you decided to pick him?
Well, I knew in this year they're going to take a lot of riding, so I wanted a really well-balanced horse, from his ears to his withers to his loins, and his loins to his gaskin is very balanced, and he's got a good foot on him and good joints, so I knew he could take a lot of riding just because he was so well-balanced. He moved well, so I figured he would be the best bet for that.
Right. And my gosh, you got him doing some phenomenal stuff already.
Yeah, he's coming along extremely well. I mean, his groundwork is excellent. His riding work is excellent, so I'm really happy how he's coming along.
Right.
There's more from Jim Anderson and another fine song of the modern West when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. The next song you hear is something pretty special, right after we get back to that conversation with world-class horseman Jim Anderson. Jim has won, over $200,000 in NHRA competitions. He won both the 2000 European Cow Horse Futurity and Derby Championship, as well as the 2000 Italian Rein Derby when he was working in Europe. After he got back to North America, he became a 3-time Canadian Supreme Reining Futurity Champion, in addition to bringing home buckles and bronzes from all kinds of other reining and working cow horse events. And he won 3 consecutive Calgary Stampede Cowboy Up Challenge Championships, and so much more. I was horseback during doing the commentary at the Ivan Daines Canadian Horse Training Championships a couple of years ago, and the colt that Jim was starting bucked pretty hard the first couple of sessions, but that didn't bother Jim at all.
When I went and spent that year with Brian Newbert, we started a lot of BLM horses, and before then, I mean, I'd been to some Ray Hunt clinics and Pat Pirelli and Tom Dorrance, and we did mainly it on our own with clinics, and I mean, a few horses bucked, and I mean, me and my brothers were quite confident riders, so if a horse humped up, it really didn't worry us. We could stay in our comfort zone, but kind of what really opened my eyes is when we started over 60 colts at Brian Newbert's place, and not one of them bucked.
Whoa.
It was pretty amazing. So, you know, when I look back at it, and I mean, we were growing up and lots of horses bucked, and I mean, we got bucked off and we didn't, and I mean, all of us brothers can ride a bronc. But when I went there and found out, there's a way to prepare these horses so they don't buck, so they can handle that pressure. And that was a big change for me mentally, and I mean, it really turned stuff around really good.
Mm-hmm. Now, how many brothers did you have?
I got 3 older brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And we all started colts when we were younger and roped.
And the next question, the obvious one, to me at least, is did Jim and his brothers ever pull any pranks on each other? After R.J. Vandegrift, who toured all over the country with a one-man show called The Cowboy Ain't Dead Yet, with the title song from the tour. And if you listen closely, he works the names of legends like Red Steagall, Baxter Black, and Rich O'Brien cleverly into the words.
Tell us a story, Mr. Red, how the West used to be, when cattle and cowboys, buffalo and antelope roamed on this range wild and free. Speak of the horses they rode, talk of the cowboys you've known, how they rode for the brand in a vast open land. Sing us a song, Mr. Red. Quote us a verse, Dr. Black, of how life was long ago. With rhythm and rhyme, paint a picture for our minds of a world that we no longer know. Spin a yarn about them wiry wild cows, the ones they never corralled, and how the boys used to swear they roped grizzly bears. Quote us a verse, Dr. Black. Let the pickers and the poets and the scholars who know it sing the songs and tell the stories we love. How they blazed a long trail before the wire and the rail, and they prayed to the good Lord above. For the ramblers and the rovers, all the drifters and the drovers, the good ones will never forget. Oh, tell all the world, all the boys and the girls, the cowboy ain't dead yet. Strum us a tune, Brother Rich. Play it sweet, play it soft, play it low. Play leading no pain, home on the range, or a melody of old Mexico. Have Murphy sing us a song, a good one like the Strawberry Roll. As we stir up the fire, we'll consort and conspire. Strum your guitar, Brother Rich. Let the pickers and the poets and the scholars who know it sing the songs and tell the stories we love. How they blazed a long trail before the wire and the rail, and they prayed to the good Lord above. For the ramblers and the rovers, all the drifters and the drovers, the good ones will never forget. Let's tell all the world, all the boys and the girls, the cowboy, he ain't dead yet. Yes, tell all the world, all the boys and the girls, the cowboy ain't dead yet.
And now back to Jim Anderson and that question about him and his brothers.
You guys ever pull any pranks on each other?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to hear about.
We always had the Pony Express. When we were 14 and younger, we had some trees in the background, and we always would chase each other and on our ponies. And the one time me and the one brother, we strung a rope across the deal there. There was kind of a chute there that we had chased the other one through, and we strung a rope across there, and he went flying through there. Clotheslined them. So, yeah, we got a few stories like that, too.
Did they get you back for that?
Oh, yeah.
What did they do to get you back?
Well, I'm sure they got me back. I can't
You're not going into detail.
Yeah, not going into detail, but they definitely did.
Well, coming up, Dr. Black, good old Baxter himself, talks about a first-hand look at the afterlife when the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Howdy, friends. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan, and I'll be right back after this with a little peek at dying and coming back to life. Are you worrying about your farm or ranch in the years to come? Illness, business, family fights over the land, who gets what? Will Uncle Sam be your largest heir? Talk to Lincoln Agribusiness Services. Mike McCormick and Scott Tyke help families deal with difficult life decisions that determine your future. Just think of them as a smart neighbor. Give them a call and find out for yourself. I did. Lincoln Agribusiness Services, 415-589-8479. How many of y'all believe in reincarnation? Nice to see you again. Well, there's a bookshelf full of bestsellers describing people's out-of-body experiences, particularly about dying, getting a peek into the next world, and then miraculously coming back to Earth to tell their story and write a bestseller. Well, I've read some of them and actually found them inspiring. And for folks who believe there is a heaven, I think we feel better after hearing some of these tales. And I'm not picking on them because I'd like to believe it's true. But it's hard for some to swallow, I know. But it does help if you'd had a similar experience to relate to. Have you heard of those folks who claim to have died and then have come back to life? They speak of a glimpse of a heavenly place, far from the world and its strife. The stories they tell have a common thread. To a man they all contend they found themselves in a long dark tunnel with a light way down at the other end. Now, as you might surmise, there are skeptics that think it's mostly hot air. But I can confirm they're not blowing smoke, because, friends, I know. I was there. I was entered up in the fall rodeo and drawed a bull named Big Red, and just when I had him, he bucked me clean off, and I lit right square on my head. I hit the ground like a bag of loose salt, knocked me plumb out, so they said. Little stars twinkled around in my brain. For all I knew, I was dead. I righted myself, or thought I was righted. I could have been upside down. But there I was in that long, dark tunnel. I marveled at what I had found, 'cause down at the end, just like they had said, a light materialized. I squinted my eyeballs and studied that light. And it was then I realized my collar encircled my head like a wreath. At last it finally made sense. I was peeking out through a buttonhole, so I crawled back up on the fence. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan. Thanks for listening.
How about a weekend pass to the 23rd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 14th to 17th, 2019. Just about the finest lineup of talent we've ever had. Michael Fleming.
On the back roads of Utah near the San Rafael, an old rough stock rider strides through the corral.
Gene Prescott.
Then he'd swing down from the saddle, and he'd take me in his arms.
Tim Huss.
The band's tuning up, and they're stocking the bar. Ranchers are coming from near and far.
Special guest, Lewis the Big Rig McIver, and so many more. The BC Cowboy Hall of Fame inductions, dinner shows, daytime entertainment, a spectacular art and gear show, workshops on everything from songwriting to saddle making. The best place to get all the information is bcchs.com. And to order tickets, call 1-888-763-2221. Well, just ahead of the Rangeland News, here's a guy that I know you'll enjoy if you get to the Kamloops Cowboy Festival. Longtime rancher on the Eastern Slopes, great picker and singer and songwriter, Charlie Ewing.
I'm riding where the country never ends. Riding where the country never ends. Nothing but the grass and trees a jogging horse between my knees. I'm riding where the country never ends. I've been stuck on an LA freeway, never-ending line of cars, crammed in a New York subway, crowded people clinging to the bars, going fast but going nowhere. Well, that's how it seems to me, friend. I'm riding where the country never ends. I'm riding where the country never ends. Riding where the country never ends. Nothing but the grass and trees, a jogging horse between my knees. I'm riding where the country never ends. Hear those pine trees sigh. Gonna leave this lonesome city, go where I got some friends. Lord, I'm riding where the country never ends. I'm riding where the country never ends. Riding where the country never ends. Nothing but the grass and trees, a jogging horse between my knees. I'm riding where the country never ends. Country never ends. Riding where the country never ends. Nothing but the grass and trees, a jogging horse between my knees. I'm riding where the country never ends. I'm riding where the country never ends.
Guess what happens Thursday, March the 14th at 7 a.m.? A bunch of happy Westerners will board a Frontier Bus Lines luxury coach in Red Deer, Alberta, heading for the 23rd annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival. Luxury motor coach transportation, 4 nights accommodation at the Coast Hotel and Conference Center, daily breakfast, Thursday evening dinner and dance, weekend pass to the Cowboy Festival, and 3 nights of dinner theater entertainment. What a great way to take in this best display of cowboy culture, Western history, and live entertainment in all the West. Just call Frontier Bus Lines, 1-888-LET'S-BUS. That's 1-888-538-7287.
The news of the rangeland, a roundup of news and coming events from around the West.
At the top of page 1, it says, is it meat or is it something else? We have meatless burgers and we have beef, they call it, not from cattle, but grown in a lab. And how are the regulators going to deal with it? Well, this report was actually done before we stopped receiving them due to the U.S. government shutdown, but it's still interesting, from Stephanie Ho.
USDA is looking into the issue of how to define a product that supporters call meat, even though it's been cultured in a laboratory.
I think that there's a lot to still be learned about these products because they are not yet in the marketplace, and USDA and FDA have been spending a considerable amount of time really evaluating what this product is and in what ways consumers might consume it.
USDA's Acting Deputy Undersecretary for Food Safety, Carmen Rottenberg, says meetings have been held with scientists and the public.
FDA held a science board meeting. We held a joint public meeting with FDA on risks, hazards, and labeling, that all are considerations that the U.S. government has to make. I think there is a question about whether these products are safe and how the U.S. government will ensure the safety of the products, and those are still outstanding questions.
This is Stephanie Ho for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Alberta Farm Animal Care is looking for nominations for a trio of awards that recognize individuals or groups who have made exceptional contributions to livestock welfare. The annual Award of Distinction for Communication honors those who take an active role in effectively telling the story about livestock issues and informing the public and agri-food industry about farm animal care in a factual and honest way that is credible and builds trust. The Award of Distinction for Innovation honors those who have developed a new process, product, or source of knowledge that has made a significant impact on improving the welfare of livestock and the industry. Nominations should be submitted to Kristen Hall at Kristen, Kristen, at afac.ab.ca by February the 15th. Well, in the past, farm and ranch supply stores have been licensed to sell a variety of over-the-counter animal health products, including antimicrobials like procaine penicillin G and tetracyclines. But now the status of these and other antimicrobials have been added to the federal veterinary prescription drug list in Canada. And with these new regulations in place, animal owners will no longer be able to visit a vet practice or medicine outlet like a farm supply store or feed mill to pick up antibiotics for treating sick animals, as we have been able to do in the past, without first establishing a valid veterinarian client-patient relationship. In order to issue a prescription, a veterinarian must document that a valid VCPR does exist. Well, our new travel schedule is now up on our website, hugh-mclennan.com. And some of the things on there, we're looking forward to being at the 19th Annual 100 Mile House Cowboy Concert along with Jason Rosinski and Tim Huss. And we'll be doing 2 shows, one at 2 in the afternoon, one at 7 p.m. at the Martin Exeter Hall. And then on March the 8th, I'll have Mike and Jim, the famous Western Spirit Band, along to entertain at the annual Grand Prairie Farm Family Awards. For tickets, you can call 780-532-9727. That's March the 8th, the day before my wife Billy's birthday. Won't tell you which one. And on April the 25th, it's our second cruise reunion celebration at the Westerner in Red Deer, Alberta, with a bunch of folks who've been on past cruises and their friends and family. And we'll have the Western Spirit Band there, along with members of our cruising cowboy band. And we'd like you to just RSVP at 1-800-530-0131. That's the same building as the Main Event Horse Expo, which gets underway the next day, and I will be there again behind the mic for the Trainers Colt Starting Challenge. And then August 16th to the 18th, we will be at the Stony Plain Cowboy Gatherings. For details, see stonyplaincowboygathering.com. And we'll tell you more about our cruise that starts August 29th just a little bit later. Next regular cattle sale at the Vanderhoof Yards of the BC Livestock Co-op is February the 8th, February the 11th, next regular sale at OK Falls, and February the 12th, regular cattle sale at the Kamloops Yards. All the details at bclivestock.bc.ca. Meanwhile, at the Innisfail Auction Market, the next pre-sort sale is February the 4th. And on the 16th of February, it's P&H Ranching Companies and Circle G Semmentals and Angus Bull and Ranch Horse Sale. All the information there at InnisfailAuctionMarket.com. A lot of stuff here, and we're down to the final item. We were driving back to the ranch from Kamloops on the night of January the 20th, and after watching Weston Field and his team win a hockey game. Weston scored a great goal, by the way, but that's when we saw the lunar eclipse, and that led to quite a conversation. Billy says, "How does the man in the moon cut his hair?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "Eclipse it." And then what is the most famous painting of a lunar eclipse? She said it was the Mona Lisa. And one more, what did the scientists conclude when they actually found bones on the moon? I said, I'm not sure. She said, that just proves the cow didn't make it. One more. Okay, one more. You heard about the restaurant on the moon? I actually hadn't, but she says, yeah, great food and no atmosphere. Okay, that's the Rangeland News. Coming up on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, I will comment on some posted comments about bridleless riding and liberty work only being achieved through abuse and pain. And there will be more from Jim Anderson when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. There is what I think a pretty interesting subject coming up on the Urban Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, but right now we have an invitation for you. So what are you doing from August 29th to September 13th, 2019? Well, Billy and I will be hosting our 18th annual Spirit of the West cruise, and here's where we'll be going. We'll fly to Dublin, Ireland. We'll be visiting an Irish thoroughbred breeding farm. We'll be hosted by the Irish Cattle Breeding Federation, and then we'll sail to some historic and beautiful places including Cork, Belfast, then Glasgow and Inverness, Scotland. And we might even get pictures of Nessie the Loch Ness Monster. And we'll have stops in Paris and London. Now this is something we've always wanted to do, and we'd love to have you join us. Get all the information at 1-800-530-0131. And check our Spirit of the West cruise page at hugh-mclennan.com and our cruise Facebook page. And as you probably have heard by now, we're getting together with as many of our past cruisers as we can get together for a cruise reunion night at the Westerner in Red Deer, Alberta on the 24th of April. And that's the night before the main event gets started at the same place. If you'd like to join us, the number to call to reply is 1-800-530-0131.
Now it's time for the Horse Training File, brought to you by Irvine Tack and Western Wear, Canada's largest Western store.
Experience the true Spirit of the West at Canada's largest Western store, Irvine Tack and Western Wear. If you need a curb strap or a 4-star gooseneck trailer, you'll find it here. A saddle for every rider. Cutters, reiners, penners, trainers, working ranch cowboys, ropers. They have over 1,200 in stock. And they have Western wear for the entire family. And how about a gift card? Shop online at irvinesaddles.ca. Free shipping on orders of over $100. irvinesaddle.ca, 1-877-946-9494. Well, I'm not sure if it's a great idea to jump right into this discussion, but it doesn't hurt, I think, to keep our minds open. I just watched the PBS Nature series on television, Equus Part 1, and a segment of it was beautifully filmed and edited with our friend and super horseman Jim Anderson, who we've been talking with, and it showed Jim doing what I thought was some beautiful liberty work and bridleless riding on that great gelding Maveric. I was really interested, though, in the background of the program, so I went to the website and I stumbled on the comments page where anyone can post anything they feel like saying anonymously. And here's a couple of comments, although I think they may have been signed. One of them was, a magnificent Part 1. Learned so much about it, and it heightens the importance of taking care of our range horses as well as our racehorse aftercare. And another comment said, the horse is complying because he understands that it will hurt more if he doesn't. The bridleless demos are obviously done with horses who have been extensively conditioned with painful techniques, creating the illusion that the horse is doing it out of his own free will, but it is conditioning through the use of pain and discomfort. Well, you know, social media can be a wonderful way to share knowledge and stay connected with folks we respect, but it bothers me when the discussion deteriorates sometimes into a name-calling debate devoid of all respect. And the words of Stephen Covey come to mind. Seek to understand before trying to be understood. And rather than give you my personal thoughts any further than that, here's what Jim Anderson had to say about what he does. Pay attention to your horse's needs. Horses are social animals. They need a lot of interaction with other horses and with people too. Drop by and say hello and treat grooming time as quality time. Use your eyes to communicate. Horses are drawn to look at our eyes. When you establish a visual connection with them, you may have their attention and can build a dialogue. Use touch. Try leaning on your horse. Use blankets and tarps to get the horse comfortable with weight and objects on their body. Don't punish your horse if it makes a mistake. Horses want to please. Maybe your instructions weren't clear. Be encouraging and try again. Use a trained horse to build confidence with a new colt. The imitation approach really works. And appeal to the heart. Horses want to please their leader. It's not about fear. It's about building a trusting relationship. If you treat them right, a horse can be your most loyal, longtime friend. And those words from a master horseman. You want to know more about Jim Anderson, visit his website, hirehorsemanship.com. And for Urban Saddles and Western Wear, that's the Horse Training File. Boy, our horses sure benefit from that daily feeding of Hoffman's Horse Ration. And you can find out more there at hoffmanshorseration.com. How about a weekend pass to the 23rd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 14th to 17th, 2019. Just about the finest lineup of talent we've ever had. Michael Fleming.
On the back roads of Utah near the San Rafael, an old rough stock rider strides to the corral.
Gene Prescott.
Then he'd swing down from the saddle, and he'd take me in his arms.
Tim Huss.
The band's tuning up, and they're stocking the bar. Ranchers are coming from near and far.
Special guest, Lewis the Big Rig McIver, and so many more. The BC Cowboy Hall of Fame inductions, dinner shows, daytime entertainment, a spectacular art and gear show, workshops on everything from songwriting to saddle making. The best place to get all the information is bcchs.com. And to order tickets, call 1-888-763-2221. Craig Cameron's Extreme Cowboy Race is one of the Calgary Stampede's most popular events, and Jim Anderson has won it a few times with the same horse.
The mare I used at the Cowboy Challenge, she was a mare we raised, and she is 7 years old. That was actually her first big show as far as the Cowboy Challenge. I mean, I showed her in some reignings, and I did some other stuff with her and roped on her a little bit, but that was her big show. And then I took her to the World Show down in Texas, and she was excellent down there. She just, come through for me really good, and I won the world on her, and we have some good horsemen, so it's always nice when we get to compete against the states to kind of evaluate really where we're at.
You get to get out and move cattle on the range and heel calves at some brandings and that, or are you just too busy training all the time now?
Yeah, this wild card colt Maverick is, I got some friends down east in the Buffalo country on the Red Deer River, and I took him down there. We went to a 500 cow branding and got to drag calves on him for a couple days, and he come around really nice. I was really happy with him. So yeah, I get out once in a while. I got a bunch of friends with big ranches, so when I get time, that's my brain break, is cowboying.
And I'm sure you're pretty welcome when you show up with a horse like that.
Yeah, they were always happy to see me, and he drug about a couple hundred calves in, so he was a good boy them days.
That's more fun than fishing. I'd rather go heel calves than do just about anything.
That's right. Yeah, me too. I really enjoy a good branding.
Yeah. Well, Jim, pleasure to meet you and work with you a little bit, even get to ride with you some, and I hope our trails will cross somewhere again real soon.
Thank you very much, Hugh. My pleasure.
Well, Terry Brown was born and raised on a ranch in Oklahoma, and he's won all kinds of awards for songwriting and performing, and he's always a favorite here.
Cowboy is a hard way of living. The days are long, the pay ain't much. He's taking a lot less than he's given from the life that's flowing through his blood. His hands are hard and calloused. He's been thrown off and stepped on 100 times. Some days it's hard to get up in the saddle, and some nights he finds a question on his mind. Where do cowboys trail beyond the great divide. When that bitter wind comes blowing through his soul, where do cowboys go when they get old? Regrets, he don't have many. He's lived and loved the life that he chose. Questions, he's still got plenty. But right now there's just the one that matters most. Where do cowboys go when they get old? Is there another trail beyond the great divide? When that bitter wind comes blowing through his soul, where do cowboys go when they get old? When his final ride is done and the angel wranglers come, will they simply pass him by? Or will they round up his soul and open up that gate of gold and guide him to that bunkhouse in the sky? Where do cowboys go when they get old? Is there another trail beyond the great divide? When that bitter wind comes blowing through his soul, where do cowboys go when they get old? Where do cowboys go when they get old?
Coming up is our classic Song of the West and something special in the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. This is our classic Song of the West segment, and today it's sung by a wonderful lady of country music that we lost on January the 12th. She raised cattle and quarter horses in Washington State. She was a legend in the world of music production. Two of her biggest hits were Dark Moon and Mr. Fire Eyes, and she had many more. This week's classic Song of the West, sung by Bonnie Guitar.
Moonlight on the river Colorado, how I wish that I were there with you. As I sit and pine each lonely shadow takes me back to days that we once knew. We were to wed in harvest time, you said. That's why I'm longing for you. When it's moonlight on the Colorado, Colorado. I wonder if you're waiting for me too.
Well, it's hockey season for sure, and there's not much more we enjoy than watching our grandkids playing hockey, and we were hockey parents before they came along. And that's what this song's all about. That kind of leads into the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight, the song from Tim Huss.
When I was young, I do recall, I'd go to school in the early fall, but on the days where there was no school, I learned to play by a different rule. Get out of bed, you sleepyhead, my hockey mom would say. Grab your skates and don't be late, there's a hockey game today. My old dad was feeling bad because he couldn't come. He had to go to work, and so I took my orders from my hockey mom. And then we drove to the rink in town, and I'd hit that ice by falling down, and then I'd score for the other team, and you could hear my mom stand up and scream. Get off that ice, I told you twice to skate the other way. And every year she bent my ear until I learned to play. And when my stick got pretty quick and the puck to me would come, each time I'd score I knew for sure where the loudest cheer was from my hockey mom. And then one day, a stranger came from far away, and he took my name. And very soon, for the NHL, I came to play. Mom came to yell, get on that puck and stir things up, show some winning pride. And every time she'd say that line, I'd shoot that puck inside. And here's my dad, oh Mr. Glad, he knew this day would come. We're all lined up for the Stanley Cup, and the tears are rolling from my hockey mom. My hockey mom, she's number one. My hockey mom, my hockey mom, she is the bomb, my hockey mom.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Huss will do that one live on stage at the 100 Mile House Cowboy Concert coming up in a couple of weeks. And the beloved cowboy, rancher, and artist, poet Mike Pahalo left us with a legacy of wonderful words, and his research was detailed and accurate. And this hockey story from Mike is true.
The dream team of the Caribou. Way back in the 1930s, they were mighty hard to beat. The hockey team from Alkali Lake that would not accept defeat. You know, there wasn't very many of them, so they couldn't often change their line. The other teams had 20 guys, Alkali just 9. Matthew Dick was the goalie. Clemene and Johnson played defense. Celista was their center, and man was he intense. Pat Chelsea and Alfred Sandy were Celista's 2 main wingers. Joe Dan, Gabby Jack, and Squinahan were the backup second stringers. They went by team and wagon, gone at least 3 days for every game, and no matter who they played that year, it ended up the same. In ragged, wore-out uniforms, in old skates with buckskin laced, they were the champions of the Caribou and beat every team they faced. They even went down to the coast and played against the best and lost that series by just 1 goal against the All-Stars of the West. Just 9 young Indian cowboys who came from Alkali. But boy, they could play hockey. Put on them skates and fly. The New York Rangers tried to hire Celesta, but their deal he wouldn't take. He said, might be I already got a job, a cowboy for Alkali Lake.
Well, thank you so much for riding along this week, and I'd sure love to have you right back here next week at the same time. And as always, thanks to our great support crew, Mark and Kathy McMillan. If you're looking for tractor parts, see Mark's page, bctractorparts.com. Till next week, I'm Hugh McLennan. Hope to see you down the trail somewhere real soon.